Hello everyone, welcome to the episode 83 of SoLeadSaturday. The guest we have today, Vanessa Zamy, is a business expert, keynote speaker, and best-selling author of Finish the Solo Entrepreneur's Guide to Getting Stuff Done. Vanessa is dedicated to helping full-time employees transition to an entrepreneurship, time freedom, and financial freedom by growing their business while employed. Since starting her business while employed in 2019, Vanessa was able to peacefully and calmly leave her six-figure day job in early 2021 and never look back. Through her consulting company, Your Vision's Catalyst, Vanessa Zamy works with high achieving corporate employees to increase their efficiency, productivity, and profitability so they can reduce overwhelm and enjoy their life while growing their profit producing, purpose driven business. Her motto, keep it simple, then keep it moving. Vanessa has featured in Fast Company, NPR Marketplace, and on the 2021 Women to Watch list by the Women in Business Club. Her background includes a management science and engineering degree from Stanford University and strategic leadership roles at Fortune 500 companies. Wow. So let's just welcome her and hear more about her career journey. How did she find her area of interest and managing to lead that? Hey, hi, Vanessa. I'm very happy to have you on the show and really appreciate all your time and consideration being on the show.
Happy to be here. Yes, excited to connect further.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure actually to see you in person, kind of virtual. So to begin with, we have the first section, which is more or like a general segment for this particular show, passion or the interest. So how did you find your interest in business consulting and what steps did you take to pursue it further?
Well, essentially, in terms of my business, so my passion came from I've already been doing consulting in corporate America. I was doing that a lot, especially consulting Fortune 500 companies on their business strategies and helping them to identify opportunities to grow and identify multi-million-dollar opportunities as well. My most recent gig was working for a multi-billion-dollar apparel company on their strategy team, and essentially, is while I was at that company that I actually came up with the idea for my own consulting company called Your Vision's Catalyst, which is the logo that you see behind me here. And essentially with Your Vision's Catalyst, what I do is I really essentially work with consulting corporate professionals on how to move forward in their business and in their vision so that they can essentially reach closer towards that life of financial freedom, generational wealth, when they can finally plant both feet into full-time entrepreneurship.
Oh, wow. That's great, actually. I think it's a lot more about the side hustling and converting that into the full-time business.
So yes. And for me, it ties into, I like to say I'm in the business of happiness because essentially what I'm helping people do is, the name of my company, catalyze their vision. Your Vision's Catalyst. So I'm essentially working with people to catalyze their vision because a lot of people, what happened is that, they were brave enough to take that step into entrepreneurship, but then they end up frustrated and discouraged by just how unsuccessful their business is. And so usually what happens at that point is that people end up quitting on the business. So they quit on the business, which then means they return back to the misery of, well, at least I have a job. At least I'm alive. At least, and that's just there's no way to live, right? There's no way, you don't have to live like that. There's no way to live. And so essentially what I do is I really work with these amazing solopreneurs to renew their passion for their own business, right? Talk about passion and purpose, renew their passion for their business by unpacking what's been sabotaging their success. And we work together to rebuild and grow their business so that they can then confidently plant both feet into full-time entrepreneurship.
Wow, that's great, actually. So thank you so much for being my guest, actually. I think you are the perfect guest. And moving towards our next segment, which is more like a questions from the audience. And we have a couple of questions shortlisted under that segment. So the first question that we have is two questions, actually. So the question always is asked about side hustling is, does it align with both your natural abilities and your passions? And how do you see it and what's the best approach?
Yes. So essentially, does my side hustle align with my passion and purpose? And then you might have to repeat that second question when we get there. But essentially, in terms of so essentially does. In summary, yes, it does. In summary, yes, what I'm doing does connect to my passion and purpose. So I think of it, my two zone of genius is essentially problem solving and then also in time management. And so what I do with my business is solving problems all the time for people. And I love problem solving. It's the thing that I've always loved to do. Is why I went to consulting just to even begin with, right? With the Fortune 500 companies is why I went to consulting, because I love problem solving. When it comes to essentially that second component of time management, a big part of what I do is helping people not only to take care of their business, but also take care of their life in the process. So it's not about essentially burning the midnight oil or like hustle till you die. Like, no, that's essentially none of my philosophy there. Not at all. And so what I really work with people on is how they can be more efficient and effective in their marketing and sales and finances and operations to then make their business come to life in the way that they want it to, and make their lifestyle essentially fit what it is that they want to make their business fit the lifestyle that they want. If that is, taking vacation every couple of months, for their kids, if they want to, have that summer off for their business, by all means, right? How do we set up that business and that model and that structure such that they can have that lifestyle that they want? Not only when the business gets to a place where it's like, well, in 10 years, when the business is this, it's like right now. How do we make that happen right now?
Yes, that's great. And the next question under the same segment we have is, what could be effective marketing and sales strategy for side hustling? You already mentioned actually marketing comes into the picture. So what are the effective ways of?
Yes, effective ways for marketing in terms of business. So it depends on what stage the business is in, but I'll say for the ones who are like in the early stages, really the key pitfall that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make is that, especially in the social media realm too, they try to be everywhere on every platform, just doing everything. And the fact of the matter is, one, you don't need to do that. But then two, it actually harms you to be everywhere at once, because not only does it harm your time and energy and just drains you, but at the same time, it also makes you not really accessible to anyone. If that is, it's like a weird dichotomy, but it's one of those things where people talk about niching down and, but really at the end of the day, business, being smart in business means focusing. And at the time, and a lot of people, like they decide they want to start their business, or they decide to like be in the early stages of business. They're like, well, what is Amazon doing? I'm gonna do the same thing. And it's like, you're not like, well, why are you trying to be like, Amazon has a multi-billion-dollar budget, right? Like, what is Facebook doing? I'm gonna do the same thing. Facebook has like 10 million different companies. Like essentially, it's like one of those things where people, solopreneurs, are trying to, be Amazon or Facebook, or all those big companies on day one, or even just be the company that they're working for. They're the director of marketing at their company, and they're like, I'm gonna do what my company's doing. You have a team of other people. You have a different budget. Like, you just cannot do the same thing, right? At least not right now. And unless you have the same budget, right? By all means. But essentially, it's how do you take advantage of the resources that you do have, the time and money resources that you do have, to then make the most of what you can. And so that is where essentially for my clients, it's really about the one marketing strategy. Because here's the thing, every marketing strategy works, right? Every marketing strategy works for someone out there, for some business somewhere. But if only one marketing strategy is going to work for a certain solopreneur in a certain business, at a certain place, in a certain, industry, whatever it may be. And so really with my clients is honing in on what is that strategy for them. And 3 simple questions that can help people, navigate that is, okay, one, how do you like to communicate? Is it through video? Is it through writing? Is it through pictures? So not video, but like static pictures. Is it through, what else is there? So video, writing, static pictures. Is it through audio? Right? Is it through like, well, how's it that you like to communicate? Or how's it that you love to communicate, and how's it that you can like handle communication, right? And then from there, the second question is then, how does your audience take in information? Your ideal audience, your target audience that you're looking to reach out to, how do they take in information? Are they mostly readers? Are they people who are on blogs? Are they mostly on the Pinterest? Are they most like, where and how are they taking in information the most? And then essentially you would need to find the answer. Question number 1. Question number 2, the synergy between that. There's a Venn diagram. There's something in the middle of that. And that's what you need to focus on, right? And then everything else is like great and gravy for when you have more people to do it. But right now you need to focus on where your audience is and how does that you both like to communicate. And then question 3 is essentially and then let's say you have like 5 things in the middle of that Venn diagram. The way you further narrow it down is then looking at, okay, where is your audience, right? Where, like when you look at your ideal target audience, where are they? And what is that, how can you then make a mark in that space?
Yeah. That's completely, I can also relate to that. So thank you so much for sharing. And we are moving towards the next segment, which is more or like a fun segment, or the relaxation kind of a segment, where I'm going to give you 3 keywords, and you must tell me what comes to your mind whenever you hear those words. So are you ready?
Okay. Well, am I saying what a word that comes to mind or a phrase that comes
Yeah,
to
so
mind?
I will just tell you one keyword and you can tell me like, short definition of it or like, replacement keyword or whatever comes to your mind.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So those are associated with your profile. That is not like something, I'm taking it from outside. It is a lot more about your passion and the interest.
Awesome.
So the first keyword that we have is we already talked in the first segment itself, which is solo entrepreneurship. Solopreneurship.
Solopreneurship, I would say, is someone who's brave, courageous, someone who essentially is doing their business on their own, very early stages. But at some point, the solopreneur needs to become the entrepreneur, in that they will need to, and this is a part of what I work with my clients on as well, but they will need to eventually at some point delegate to that team and expand to what it is that they need to do.
So the second keyword that we have is ambition.
Wow, ambition. The word that comes to mind is ambition, but I'd say go-getter, resourceful, efficient go-getter. I would say for ambition, I've always been told I've had a lot of it. And for me, entrepreneurship came to me, like the word entrepreneurship came to me later in life. And so I never quite knew, like I was just like, oh yeah, I'm ambitious. Okay, people say I'm ambitious. I just achieve my goals. That's always been a specialty of mine, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a book on Solopreneur's Guide to Getting Stuff Done. But essentially with that, essentially for ambition, it really is, someone who you have a goal in mind and you want to keep moving forward in it. And when it comes to, I always like to say entrepreneurship is a marathon. And the thing that's going to keep you going on this marathon of entrepreneurship, for anyone listening, is really having that passion and purpose on what it is that you want to do. And so if you already know you're not interested in your business, if you're just like, I mean, I guess I can do it, then that's not the business that you need to be doing. Because entrepreneurship, you're not going to survive entrepreneurship. You're not going to survive. And so you really need to ensure that what you're working on is something that you actually have a passion around, you actually have purpose around. It actually ties to, your core, your inner core, and what it is that you like and want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then third word that we have is mental health.
Mental health is very important. Yeah, so mental health is very important. And that's also why I bring in the time management piece and component into my business, because I've always been told in my life from many years, but I've always had in different years, different chapters of my life, different states that I've lived in, where people will say, Vanessa, how do you do it? What's your secret? I never knew what they were asking me, but essentially it wasn't until I started Your Vision's Catalyst, my company, and I then wrote my book, that I realized that what people were asking me about was essentially, how do I achieve my goals, right? How do I be ambitious? How do I achieve my goals and get stuff done while keeping my whole body above water? And so that is essentially for me, and that's essentially in mental health, right? It's essentially being able to do the things, and it's not just looking like you have things under control, but actually having things under control. There's a difference. There are people who look like it, but on the inside, their immune system is like crying out for help, right? And you have other people who are actually like doing both of them. Very few of us out there who are, actually looking great outside, but also taking care of the inside as well. It's a very small population, but that's a population you want to be a part of. And so even when I was doing my business while doing my day job and writing the book and like losing 30 to 40 pounds and also still getting promoted at work too, to the next, 6-figure salary day job and all that jazz. While I was still doing that, I also was sleeping 7 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Because for me, that was important for me. Sleep was very important to me. When I work with my clients, essentially the second phase of what we work on together, I call it life synergy. And so we're looking at getting those components of their life into and webbed into what it is that we do, right? So I have one client, for example, who's an artist and she loves to do art. For her business that we're working on, it's a financial sort of passion that she also has to help other people become debt free. And so for her, it was like, okay, how do we still incorporate that art into her day-to-day business as well too, while she's also doing her day job and also trying to grow this business. I have another client as well. For her, she's a mother of young kids and she just needed that time alone during the week. And so that meditation time before the kids wake up is like her time. And so ensuring that she prioritized that, made sure she got that into her life. But yes, mental health is very important. It comes in many different phases. I think of mental health also as self-care. And it's beyond meditation, right? Some people's meditation, but it's literally just, sometimes it's just you taking a break from the computer and walking around. It's you deciding, you know what, I'm not going to go to this meeting. I'm going to take a nap instead. It's you essentially prioritizing what you need to prioritize, because like I always say to people, you are the core of your business. And so if you do not show up for your business, especially as a solopreneur, like no one else is going to show up. And even if you have a team of people in the early stages of business, you are their leader. So if you don't show up, they're going to be like, oh, I guess I don't have to show up. The leader didn't show up. I don't have to show up either. Okay, cool. Right. And so you need to ensure that you are taking care of yourself so that you can then show up for your business, for your team, for your clients, for your customers, and everyone else who's depending on you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great, actually. And you really did well in this segment because you had a lot to talk about, and that clearly shows your passion actually towards the area that you are leading. So, moving towards our next segment, which is about exploring your career work or volunteering, and we are keeping it short. So, we have one question. We would like to explore the other side of you along with your entrepreneurship, like,
Mhm.
you are a writer actually. So, would you like to share more about your book, Finish, the Solopreneur's Guide to Getting Stuff Done, founder of your Visions Catalyst and the creator of the Hustle and Breathe Business Accelerator?
Yeah, so essentially my book that I wrote, it premiered so it's on Amazon, available on Amazon as an ebook for those who are wondering. So you just Google Vanessa Zamy, you'll see the book there, but called Finish, the Solopreneur's Guide to Getting Stuff Done. And that one premiered on a bestseller list for 3 categories, actually, including business project management on Amazon and back in early 2020, before the pandemic. But essentially, the book is my way of essentially answering that question that people were always asking me in terms of, Vanessa, how do you do it? What's your secret? And so Finish was a 6-step process that I created while I was writing the book to help people do that themselves. So get stuff done themselves. And that book, essentially the sort of main, it's a nonfiction self-help book, but I have kind of like a main character example that I use as well throughout the book. But it's that person who, they start a bunch of stuff. They're really great at starting things, really
Mhm.
great at taking action, but just not great at following through and finishing. And so the book essentially Finish is really the process to where someone can go from start to finish on a project business that they have going on. It's a 6 steps. So Finish, F is focus your intention. I is for increase your knowledge and navigate your resources. Then we initiate your success. Then we season your soul, and then you hug it out. But really, it's like that whole process of project management and self-management that goes into what I've done in my life getting stuff done. So that book also includes a bunch of examples from people I've worked with, but also examples more so in like my personal life and how I essentially navigated getting stuff done. And this is essentially like I've been doing this since I was, probably came out the womb. But anyways, pretty much all the examples are really early stages. So maybe there'll be a 2.0 for like the business side of things. But yeah, that's essentially what the book is. It's really a process for people to go from start to finish on anything that they want.
Yeah, wow. Sounds like a really very interesting book, and I would encourage audience as well to check it. So thank you so much for sharing that side of you as well. And next segment that we have is more of like a tips or advice. You already shared a lot of details about how you can lead your side hustling and convert it into the full-time business, or how you can effectively work on the marketing and the sales strategies to grow your business. But just to summarize something in this particular segment, I would like to ask is like any tips or advice would you like to give to the students or professionals who are looking to get into this particular field, like getting their side hustle converted into the entrepreneurship side of the business and grow their business, or looking this entrepreneurship as their long-term career option?
Yes, I would say the main tip, and there are a lot of tips, a lot of tips. I went live like every day for 365 days. So I have so many tips. But I would say the tip for people who are in that early stages where you're still in the idea phase of your business, or you're still in the haven't yet started, but have started, but define start, right? If you're still in that phase essentially of your business life, your entrepreneurship journey, I would say for you, the main tip is to simplify your business model. So what I mean that means going down to just one solution, one product that you offer to people, one service. Like if you're a service owner, it's like, is it 1-by-1 session or is it group coaching? It's individual coaching. Like what is that one package? And then essentially if you're a product-based business owner, that one product, that one apparel clothing line that you're going to go out with and be the leader in. And then from there, essentially, so one solution, one marketing channel, like where are you going to be posting a lot? Where, like if we're Facebook and Instagram, you can kind of cross post, but it's also a different type. It's a similar algorithm, but also different. So essentially choose a one platform where, or maybe it's not even digital. Maybe it's essentially you're going to go do trade shows or whatever it may be, in-person stuff. But really choose that one platform, one marketing platform, one solution, and one audience, essentially one target audience. You're not helping everyone. That's another big mistake people make. A lot of new entrepreneurs make. I want to help everyone. I'm sure everyone can probably benefit from your information probably, but who's the main person, right? And the thing is that when you have that main person, everyone else sort of comes around. Kind of like my business, I focus on corporate professionals, people with a day job and a business, right? But I also get full-time entrepreneurs, people who just they had nothing but time with their business, and so we work together on that. And so really just helping you, ensuring that you are focusing on that one audience and that one problem, that one product solution that you're offering to people in the one marketing avenue.
Wow, that's great. And thank you so much. Actually, it's wonderful listening to you and listening to your particular business use cases, like, the people you worked with. So thank you so much for being the guest. And to close this particular episode, actually, we have the last segment, which is a leadership. So no doubt the way you are talking, it shows your leadership style. So, like, you are truly leading your area of interest. So what is your leadership style, and any specific leader that you always follow or admire, and why?
I'll say for leadership, and I know I like to give context to things sometimes, but essentially context, what I'll give is that I spent a good couple of years, like a good 2 to 3 years of many years ago, essentially being like really interested in leadership theory. But I've spent time just being a leader, either whether it was after school things or extracurricular things, or while I was at work, but those like volunteer groups that you do while you're still at your day job, etc. So I've always been like essentially either a leader or looking at people and how I want to or didn't want to lead. But essentially my leadership style is many different layers to it, but it really is a communication is key. So when for example, like the one main thing that I tell people when I onboard them onto my team is like communication. That's really what it comes down to. And so I'm really all about transparency. Even like literally before I fire someone, they know that they're either going to be fired and they have a chance to recover, or I'm transparent, right? And so it's very transparency, and at least very great discussions come out of this discussion, and it's great. People like change, it's a whole situation. But anyways, yeah, so transparency, communication. And I tell people, even like, I'm like, if you're bored with the job, listen, it's a new business. Like there's many different things for you to do, right? If you're happy, you're happy. If you're not, so it's all about communication. So the main thing for me, my leadership style is really just transparency and communication.
Wow, that's great, actually. And any specific leader that you follow or admire, and why?
No.
You are the leader, actually. That's great, actually.
I'm the leader I want to see. I'm the leader I've always wanted. There we go. I was kidding.
Leader by yourself. So that's really great, actually. And thank you so much for being the guest on SoLeadSaturday. Really appreciate all your time and consideration.
Yes, happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you for having this amazing platform.
Yeah, thank you. For now. Okay, guys. All right. So this is all about Vanessa and the way she's managing to lead her area of expertise. Before we close, as per our tradition, I'm going to have a closure quote, which is from one of the very successful entrepreneur in today's world, Jeff Bezos. And the quote says, one of the huge mistakes people make is that they try to force an interest on themselves. You don't choose your passions choose you. So on that quote, we are closing today's episode. See you guys in the next episode. Until we meet, happy leading. Let's lead together. Stay safe. Bye.